The new season of Marvel Rivals has started, and there's a bunch of nerfs, buffs, and adjustments to characters. So I'm going to go over all of them as fast and simple as possible. And if you guys know me, you know I like to get straight to the point. So if you can leave me a like for not wasting your time, I would really appreciate it. If we can get this video to 1,000 likes, that would be massive. But anyways, let's begin. To keep this simple, I'm going to be going from character to character with all their changes. And these symbols on the top will indicate whether the character has been nerfed or buffed. So let's start with the Vanguards first. So for Captain America, his changes were based more around survivability and entering and exiting fights. His base health has been increased from 650 to 675. His shield regen has also been buffed. So when his shield is down, it goes from what it used to be from 3 seconds to now 2 seconds until his shield will start regenning its health. His ability called Liberty Rush has also been buffed, with the cooldown from this being moved from 12 seconds to now 10 seconds. And finally for Cap, his ult now charges faster. The energy cost used to be 3,400 and now it's 3,100. I'm not sure how this measures up in a time difference, just know that his ult charges faster now. It's also received a slight nerf, and the health gain from it has moved from 110 to 100 a second. But don't worry about this though, because it's still an overall buff to this character since his ult is going to be coming back faster. Next, we have my favorite character, which is Doctor Strange, and I hate to see this one. He's been slightly nerfed. The idea with him was to reduce his threat range and defensive time. So his ability Maelstrom of Madness and the Gamma one have both received damage fall off. It starts at 5 meters and reduces to 70% once you're at 8 meters. His shield health also regens slower, going from 80 health a second to now 70 health a second. This one's a slight nerf though and really might not be that noticeable. Next for Thor, they wanted to increase his survivability while also improving his success rate for his ult. So now his base health has been increased from 500 to 525, and he has immunity to control effects during his ult. I don't have anyone to test this with, but I'm pretty sure this is basically just saying he can't be canceled out of his ult by any ability. He can only be killed if you want to shut down his ult now. Next we have Hulk, and he only received one nerf. His guard ability shield has been decreased from 250 to 200. Finally for tanks, we have Venom. He's gained increased survivability with his shield working the way it used to again. So now on cast, you convert 120% of your lost health into bonus health, meaning now there is a payout for waiting longer and using this shield ability. Before, it would put you at 900 health no matter what, but now as you can see in this clip, I go past 900 with high HP, and when my HP is really low, I go even higher. His ult now also does increased damage, moving from 40 damage to 60, but that's all the changes with the Vanguard. So now let's talk about the Duelists. First, we have Black Panther. His survivability has been slightly nerfed. His Spirit Rend ability now can no longer provide a max of 120 health. It's been knocked down to 75 bonus health, while the lowest amount of health return has been moved from 40 to 30. Of all the changes so far, this one's a little bigger, since now Panther will have a harder time brawling since he gets 45 less max potential health. Next for Black Widow, we have a weird buff. Her kick combo opener has now been increased from 3 meters to 5, and this is the crazy one. Her sprint meter before took a max of 12 seconds to fully recover. That number has now been moved to 4 seconds. So that's a huge switch for her and lets her be a lot more mobile. And finally for her, her ult fires at a quicker max power. This has been changed from 1 second to 0.6 of a second. Hawkeye got a slight nerf, but after playing a few ranked games with him, it still feels like he's really strong. So he got the angle reduced on the spread of his explosive arrows, which makes them a tighter spread, and this is actually a buff, but I still don't really think people are going to be using it that much because the damage is still low. But the bigger change is that now Archer's focus has been moved from 60 meters to 40 meters, so it's going to be a lot harder to charge this up for a max damage shot. And even when you do charge it all the way, this passive has also been nerfed. The damage buff has been reduced from 80 to 70 with it. Next for Hela, we just have a quick nerf. Her max health has been moved from 275 to 250. Next we have another quick one, and this is Magic, and this is only for her ult. Her damage from her dash has been raised from 115 to 135, but again, that's a buff that's only for her ult. Next we have Moon Knight, yet again another quick one, and this one's only for his ult. It changes the number of talons dropped from 10 to 14, and the explosive radius for the splash has been increased by a meter. Next is Namor, and we have a quick buff for him. The way you throw out his octopus has been changed. It was basically just meant for them to feel better to throw, and I'm not gonna lie, after playing him before and now, it does feel a little bit better. You basically just throw them faster, which makes them easier to get in higher places. Next is Psylocke, and she got a nerf, but that's only for her ult. And as a tank main, thank God they nerfed this one. Basically her ult checks for barriers now. This means if you're ulting someone like Doctor Strange and he throws up his barrier, he can now block the damage. And I can't even tell you the amount of times I got ulted by Psylocke and I try to throw up my barrier to block the damage. Now I can actually stop her from stabbing me. And I'm gonna be honest, this doesn't even make sense because you can melee through Doctor Strange's barrier. So why should she not be able to melee through it? I don't know, but that's just the change they made. This is also blocked by things like Magneto's barrier or Hulk's barrier. So if you're playing Psylocke and you dive on a character like Hulk, if he's grouped up around his team and he throws up that barrier, be careful because you're going to charge up his ult a lot. I'm sorry I can't show gameplay of this because I literally have no friends that play this game. Speaking of that, I would love a team to climb and ranked with. So if you're on PC and you're above diamond, please join my Discord and message me, because I need a team to play with. I can't keep solo queuing in the trenches anymore. It's driving me insane. And if you're looking for more info or anything like that, you can still join my Discord even if you're not a high rank. The link's in the description. Just send me a message and I'll be there to talk to you guys. Next, we have Punisher, who's received a buff on his main and secondary fire. His shotgun and his AR both have less spread on their bullets. This will make him a lot more effective at range. Next is Wanda, and she also got a buff. Her chaos control damage has been increased from 50 to 60 damage a second. Her projectile damage has been increased from 30 to 35, but her percent damage per second has been reduced from 5 to 3%. I'm not sure how this will affect her with her fixed damage being raised, but her percent damage being lowered. I would assume this makes her a lot better at facing lower health enemies. Next, we have Storm, who's going to be a big character this season you're going to see a lot of. So first, her wind blade projectile has been increased from 100 meters a second to 150, and this will make these shots a lot easier to land with her. And the damage has been raised from 50 to 55. Her bolt rush damage has been increased from 70 to 80. And finally, after her ult, she now gains 450 bonus health. This has been increased from before, which is 350. And before, after her ult, she would get that health and then it would just vanish. But now it decreases at 100 health a second. Still not that much of a change, but it's there. Next, we have Squirrel Girl. She got an adjustment to her ult. After they bounce, they track the nearest enemy instead of randomly bouncing all around the map. But the health of all these squirrels has been decreased from 600 to 300. Bucky is receiving a buff and a nerf, which makes him better at mid-range, and this will make him less effective at longer range. At least that's what they're going for. His bonus health from hooking and hitting with the voltage has been decreased from 30 to 40, but his main fire damage has been increased from 70 to 75, while still keeping the same damage fall-off numbers, and his base health numbers have been changed from 250 to 275. Finally, for Duelist, we have Wolverine. His max health has been moved from 300 to 350, and his Undying Animal ability provides less damage reduction. This has been changed from 50% to 40%. That was all the Duelists, and now we're moving on to the support. For the support, we have 5 characters with changes. First, we have Cloak and Dagger, who got a big buff to their ult. Now it has 4 charges instead of having 3, and her Dagger Storm cooldown has been lowered from 15 to 12 seconds. Next, for Jeff, his ult has been changed and now should have better targeting for who it's hitting and if you're escaping it. It's got a 10 meter radius by 5 meter height, and his healing with Joyful Splash has been increased from 140 a second to 150 a second. For Luna Snow, she got kind of a nerf. You just can't spam her ult anymore. This is kind of a change that I predicted would happen. Before, you could switch between her damage and healing, and this only had an interval of 0.1 seconds, but now the swap is 0.5, so you can't spam it like that. Next, we have Mantis, and she's been slowed down. Her passive that let her have a boost in speed has been lowered from 2.5 meters to 1.5 meters. And finally, for this list of changes, we have Rocket. His healing has been increased from 60 to 70 per second. Well, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. I'm gonna have another character guide coming out really soon for a character I know you guys are gonna want to play this season, and it's not one of the new ones. If we get this video to 1,000 likes, I would really appreciate it a lot. If you made it to this point in the video, comment massive so I know to thank you. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Prez, and I'm out, bruh. Peace.